Yeah, work decided to hop on top of it with an individual. See what's the talk of the town's going down the one the curve you Herbie. Whoopsie! Let me just set this up real quick. Alrighty, we good now. Now, for those who are curious, I did drop a new video on this channel. If you guys want to scope it out, right? One of my former subscribers' questions, right? Discussing the matter of, his opinion, and then I gave my opinion. If you guys are curious on scoping that out, right? Talking about, where I'm coming from when it comes to certain YouTubes and the, opposite in which we stand. Dang, my phone's only on 3%. Damn, my boy, I feel used. That's how sometimes my phone be. When I'm on live, I'm like, shit, I gotta charge this motherfucker. That's how I am sometimes. Sometimes, like, that's why sometimes the live ends abruptly, right? Like, I forget to charge it, and then, bam. What's cracking like a little rich? What's good, my boy? What you getting yourself into? Loken and token stroking? Or shitting like a villain? We chilling, my boy. We chilling. I hope everybody's having a lovely Friday. Start to the weekend, even though it's already fucking nighttime. But yet it's still early as fuck. And it be pitch black out there already, bro. It's like dark as fuck already out there. It's like, damn, bro. I hate that shit because it's like, where the fuck did the day go? It's like on my day off, I wake up like at 3. And it's like, the day's almost over and shit. We just got off work. I feel you, bro. Gotta get it in. Especially in these tough times that we're going through. Especially in these tough times. With the state of our economy. And the government shutdown. People don't think it's a big deal just right now because they're not feeling the effects, but it takes a while for the chain event to actually take motion. You know what I mean? You'll feel the side effects weeks after. I gave Carson a nickname, and it's not Barson. What is it now? Hello there. The B, because normally people change the C's to B's when it comes to like black gangs. Like Bompton or Bruising or Brazy. They really don't do it like that, right? It's over exaggerated on the internet, but some of them do tend to, switch some words, but not all. And it's not really to that extreme. Like, what's his name? The famous Crip that was on social media. What was his fucking name? Damn, that's a tip. Oh, fucking. Crip Mac. There you go. C Mac. On 55. You find me? Bro just took it to a whole nother level. Bro was tripping. Hey, but it's that persona, no? It was elevating his career on the internet, so it worked for him. There's that Adam 16's buddy. I can already feel the effect of the tariffs at work in our packaging is now ours to cut due to the low value of the value. Yeah, of course. Obviously, Donald Trump, when he's saying that it's like every time he goes on there, he's threatening countries with tariffs. It's like he's threatening the American people, and not these other countries. Countries are not gonna give a fuck. He thinks that they actually care. Carson. Yeah, seriously, it's like he thinks that people really are that dumb that they don't know about tariffs. You know what I mean? He thinks people are really not gonna like look that into tariffs. Tariffs used to be a good tactic when people didn't know what tariffs were. You know, but now that people know what tariffs are, it's a lot easy. It's a lot harder to try to use that as a tactic. Because some companies before used to actually have morals, so you know they would actually not want to go down the tariff way because higher wages, they didn't want to pass the price to the consumer, right? Because they cared about their reputation. But nowadays companies don't really give a fuck about that, and they don't mind charging the people more money. Before, it's like they were trying to come up and they were just trying to make a name for themselves, so that's why they acted like they were like about the people. But nowadays, bro, they don't gotta put up the facade no more, bro. They already made it high, to high standards, so higher mountains. So they're like, yeah, fuck that. What's cracking like a dashboard? What's good, my boy? Hi, hello there. What in your account will be banned if you do not follow our. In serio? Did you check out the? I checked out some of them. No, I didn't. I didn't get to see the one or the picture with those two. I think it was it Australia? I know Australia was in it. Australia versus who the fuck was Australia playing? It was somebody with Australia in it. I'm starting to pick up more on it though as I go though. Yeah, I think it was no, was it India? Yeah, I think it had to be India. Or was it New Zealand? No. No, I think it was India. I was eating some In and Out while I was like scoping it out. I haven't been telling my older son about it because he's also a sports fan. What are your thoughts on paisa rappers from Mexico? Do you listen to them? What do you mean? You mean like homies that are over there, or you mean just in general that have no gang ties? I do listen to rappers that are from Mexico. They're really talented. They're really talented. You know, the only probably critique is that they all sound similar, right? They all tend to have the same style. No, but they got skills. They definitely have skills. I don't care what anybody says. What do you would you be on here? Oh, like rappers in Spanish. That actually would be. That's actually a good idea. It's actually a good idea because there's a lot of them. Oh, but they have paisa. Oh, like they have to paisa card. You're pretty much saying like Border Brothers sort of. That's what you mean, no? Have their own narco corrido rap. No, I heard of narco corrido rap. I also heard of narcos corridos, where involving homies, but there's actually corridos involving like uh, the Southern program and stuff like that, right? There's actually a lot of good corrido, narco corrido rappers out there. Like Lalo Serrano. I feel personally, I feel like that music sounds the same. They're good though. They're talented. They're talented. It's just hard to separate the individuals, right? Because they all have the same similar style. you know. But they definitely, you know who else too, who has like a group like that, right? I forgot the name of them, but they rap with Scheme Westmount. I forgot the name of the individuals, but they're also from the south central side of town, so they're from the low bottoms. What are your thoughts on people who try to defend cartels by saying cartels donate to charities and help build the schools? Well, I mean, there is individuals that do that. You know, you have individuals, you know, not just cartels, but you have had dictators that do that. You have had, you know, shit. Hitler has done that, right? But for his people on his side, right? But that just because somebody does that doesn't make them good people, and just because you know you do a good deed doesn't now justify the bad deeds that you're committing, right? Like just because somebody donates to kids cancer hospital donation thing doesn't make it okay now for him to be fucking out there killing all kinds of people and becoming a serial killer. You know, like their good deeds don't you know it doesn't now excuse their bad behaviors. You feel me? Obviously they're gonna do stuff like that because obviously you know they're men, you know, that are in the cartels, right? They live in these villages, these towns. Um, so obviously they don't want to get back to these towns, right? To keep their you know production going, right? Keep everybody you know cool. That way they don't tell on them, right? You know, meeting the people in the towns, right? That is knowing of the illegal activity that's going down, right? Like we have laws in place, so you just can't take the law into your own hand, or you just can't do what you feel like you want to do. You know. I mean, because you're putting these schools, you're building these schools and whatnot, right? But then when the law enforcement come and whatever, you guys are having these same gun battles and you know gunfights in the same towns and these you know same areas where the schools are at, right? Putting everybody's lives in jeopardy. There are others sports that is popular in India, but this is one of the most popular ones in India. Called it is popular. It's still. I you know what to my eyes, I didn't realize that there were so many sports like how there is. There's actually a shitload. Aqueducts. I still feel like they're the ones for Spanish rap. Oh shit! I forgot about them. Aquid, yeah, Aquid and JP and Maloso and I think they were all part of the same rap label, if I'm not mistaken. I remember all those individuals that were part of that. You know, I really wasn't a fan of that genre of music, right? Because it's almost like they were trying to be mainstream with it, right? Like kind of bring a mainstream style to it, right? I don't know. It just seemed very disjointed. Just recently, a mayor in Mexico got assassinated for speaking out against the cartels. They have been protesting in several Mexican cities right now because of it. Yeah, you know, and stuff like that is just going to continue to happen, right? As long as you have poverty, as long as you have these areas that are being neglected, you're always going to have this kind of problem. You know, individuals have families, need to feed their families, but there's no work. You know, there's no work and there's no help because everything's like so corrupted, right? And in order to get plugged in, you gotta have connections and know people, right? And there's a lot of favoritism that happens, you know, sadly. What are your thoughts on Drake as a MC? Where you rank him and the greatest rappers of all time? How do you feel about his music style? Well, see, that's gonna be different, right? Because we all see a different of where will we rank somebody when it comes to like let's say, um, like in skills, and it's normally gonna revolve around what we like, right? Like the style that we're normally like into, right? So since his style is just not a style that how can I say I gel with, he wouldn't be high up there, but at the same time he wouldn't be left out either, right? Because I can recognize that he definitely has creative writing and skills when it comes to wordplay and all that, right? Especially how he constructs his lyrics, right? It's like a how can you say he's you kind of have to look for the clues in there to see what he wants to say, right? To piece it together. So, you know, I wouldn't put like him highly up there, right? But he would be up there. Like let's say we're talking about top 50, just because not many people would have could like come with the amount of music that he has came up with, right, and reach the success that he has reached, right? So that has to be that has to be recognized. Oh, trust me, there's a lot of majority sports they play worldwide a few times in countries. I know that's true. I wonder why that is. What's your thoughts on people who used to be a part of a gang and don't dress with colors but still just look gang members like because of their baggy clothes? Well, I have always said that like gangsters don't have a dress code. Like growing up like with homies and amongst it, like everybody had different styles. Everybody didn't have the same style. Like you would have homies that didn't look gangster. You had some that looked like they were rockers, some that looked like skaters, some that looked like casual individuals, some that looked like like conceited. You know what I mean? But like there's a lot of individuals that have different styles. That never mattered. It was always about, well, is this individual down or is he not? You know what I mean? You had some individuals that were all G'd up, all fucking looked all gangstered out, that were the biggest bitches in the world, including from my neighborhood. You know what I mean? How is Lefty a MC? I wouldn't consider Lefty an MC because Lefty doesn't prioritize his career isn't revolving around his lyrical wordplay. He's more of the hip hop type of individual, right? Um, See, like there's differences. Like there's individuals that do music, like let's say, um, like the Mingos and the Little Johns and the Mysticals and the Fabulous, like that, right? And then you have individuals that just um, focus more on lyrical wordplay, like the Wu Tangs, like the Locksmiths and the Crooked Eyes and the Cannabis and the um, Jedi Minds and individuals like that, Psycho Realm, Cypress Hill, um, that are more into the lyrical. That's what an MC is. These individuals are hip hop rappers. These individuals are MCs. Jay Z is not an MC. Jay Z is part of hip hop. Nas is an MC. One prioritizes the hip hop and the mainstream value of things, and Nas prioritizes more of his lyrical wordplay and constructing raps. Obviously, one is more successful than the other, right? Because you can dance to this one, and people can gel and vibe to the beat more. While these ones, people pay attention more to what the individual's saying and what he's trying to say and how he's able to say it. You get what I'm saying? So one just looks for the spotlight. One actually cares about the rapping portion of things. I feel like Lefty's rap skills need more work to it, right? Um, but it's working for him, right? So who the fuck am I to say, right? Obviously, he's popping, so he's doing what seems to work for him. It's just in my personal opinion, I just see it differently, though. We had Fubu shit. Yeah, I remember Fubu. The big homies hated rappers, hip hoppers, and graffiti artists. Well, they didn't hate graffiti artists. Here's one of the misconceptions that people think that homies hated taggers or homies hate taggers, right? Um, there's a difference from taggers, graffiti artists, to tag bangers. You know, these individuals that are kind of trying to pretend like they're gangs and trying to claim territory and act like they're like a part of us, the structure, right? They have an issue with that, right? They have an issue with individuals trying to proclaim or trying to pitch themselves a certain way, right? Um, and obviously, like I said, people don't have any issues with people, you know, graffiti artists that are, let's say, they're tagging up freeways, they're tagging up buildings, and they can do whatever the fuck they want. No one's gonna tell them anything. No one cares, right? But once you start writing in the actual in the vitals of these individuals, it's gonna become an issue. Not because you're a tagger or graffiti artist. It's just that you're not a part of us, so how dare you write in our area, right? And not only that, but as soon as you see somebody tagging on the wall, they don't know if you're an enemy, if you're an ops, right? And you're trying to, you know, mob in their hood, right? And you being from the opposition, they don't know who the fuck you are, right? So when they're running up, you know, they're already thinking the worst, everything, you're the ops, and their adrenaline is rushing, heart is pumping. So by the time they get to you, right, and you try to explain yourself, they're already mad as it is. They're probably not going to want to hear you out no more, right? That's why most graffiti artists tend to avoid writing in actual territories of individuals. That's why it's rare that you see crews actually do a piece, like, let's say, in some random street in the heart of somebody's hood. You see them on freeways, you see them on buildings, you see them, you know, on fucking, you know, on main boulevards, but you never see them like actually like try to hit up on an actual neighborhoods, right? Because that's where you're gonna get some issues. It's hard to explain. Like I used to be a gang member. Whatever, I don't dress with colors because that's trying to act like I'm something you're not. There are some people that try too hard. There are some people that really do try like really hard. You know, like you don't have like if you know you're something, you don't have to try to be that thing. You know what I mean? Only people that doubt themselves feel like they have to do that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? You need to check out the Alabama rapper No Cap and Rodriguez. They are some of the neighborhoods are both focus mainly. Oh shit! Serio? No Cap? He has to be new now. But when I say active gang members, enemies, they still be tripping. Oh yeah, if you were once a part of something, right, and they see you, right, they're still gonna think that you're a part of that, right? Even if you tell them that you're not, to them they're gonna see it like you could be lying. Because there's individuals that are like that. You catch them slipping, they say that they don't bang no more. They say that they're not from nowhere. That you know whatever. Then you let them slide. Next you know, like 2 hours later, they come and they try to light you up with their homies, and it's like, what? I thought you said you were from. Because I actually have seen that individuals say they don't bang no more. They're not from that no more. They whatever, you know, they have nothing to do with that no more. Next you know, they're rolling up like 2 hours later with their homies, and it's like, what? And their homies are not gonna believe us if we're telling them, man, that fool ranked it or whatever. You know what I mean? He's gonna be like, nah, they're lying, fool. And they're gonna believe their homie over us. So there's some people that say no, where you tell them to lift up their shirt and they have a big ass tattoo of the gang. Like, you're just like, come on now, bro, what are you doing? Cypress was it H? Chicano because he was from Swans. This is true. He was from a black neighborhood, but like, let's say, if you hear his albums, right? Like, if you hear his albums, right? Especially the Spanish ones, for example, let's just say for the Spanish one, right? You know, he's talking about, you know, rolling with them locals and, you know, puffing on the mota and, you know, staying with the cuete and dumping out the balas on the enemigas. Okay, so you're hearing this, right? So you put on any Chicano rapper CD, right? And they're saying they're rolling with them locals, they're smoking on the mota, they're rolling with the cuete, and they're dumping out the bala. Okay, so, like, okay, well, it's the same shit, right? Like, you're hearing this and you're just like, what the fuck? Same shit, right? But one is Chicano rap, but one is not. You get what I mean? It's like they literally said the same lyrics, right? But one is Chicano rap, but one is not. You get where I'm coming from? That you're just like, oh, okay, but why? You get where I'm coming from? Or like, oh, that's Chicano rap. What about the song that I played before that? Yeah, but that wasn't Chicano rap though. What? Oh. You know what I mean? It's a trip. I don't really understand. Big Pun was the same way. Big Pun had songs like that. And so you're just like what? This fool sounds like, just like any other, right? But he's not, according to people, right? So then you kind of just wonder, like, well, then what exactly, put you in that category? Like, oh, but see, he wasn't from California. He wasn't a Southerner. Like, what? There's Chicano rappers that are not Southern. What the fuck does Chicano rap have to do with Southerners? There's no connection between the two. I mean, just that Southerners are Chicanos, right? But just like being Chicano and being a Southerner is not the same thing, though. You get what I'm saying? There's people that look like homies, right? They belong to lowrider clubs, car clubs and stuff like that, right? Or they say, some people that do the oldie thing, right? But they're not gangsters. They're not gang members. See, the Southerners adopted the Chicano style because the style comes from the Chicanos, not like they didn't come up with this on their own. Jay-Z is more known for his wealth than is on his music. Jay-Z is, as you know, if he's thinking no one can beat him. I know. My homie bumps Cypress Hill, but they wouldn't bump Chicano rap. Yeah, same. The homies would never hear Chicano rap. Mostly because a lot of these individuals would say their barrios in their music, right? And you really don't want to be, saying somebody else's hood, right? Right? Like you had a sense of pride in your neighborhood, right? So you don't want to really be bumping somebody else saying their neighborhood, I don't know. There's a lot of homies that were just like, man, turn that shit's whack, man. These fucking wannabes. Most of the stuff that will come out was these fucking wannabes, though. It is what it is. It's my job to stay in my lane because I'm not gang member to pressing no line. I understand where you're coming from, bro. I get it. Trust me, I get it. It would be different, like let's say you're not and yet you're trying to proclaim to be that. You know what I mean? So I get what you're, and then that's I could understand people from that perspective, right? Like well, I'm not a gang member no more, right? So I'm not gonna be sticking my nose in this and that and this and that, right? There's individuals that do that, and then they wonder why people are calling them out for it. And it's like, what did you think was gonna happen though? Once you start to try to inject yourself in this kind of topics, right? Like you see that this revolves around nothing but negativity, drama, chaos, and everything like that. So it's like, what did you really think was gonna happen? Doing that though. Obviously, nothing good. You know what I mean? And it's crazy that these people act so surprised about it. Shout out to the Cam. Well, yeah, and then you have individuals that become neighborhoods like Cam, and Cam's not the only one, right? It's probably the most recognizable one, right? But it's not the only Cam, DS, DS, DES, KWS, JBI, UMK, fucking DIM, fucking and all kinds of G Dubs and AK and NFL and fucking, and the list could go on and on and on and on and on. Right? There was a rumor going around the big homies related. And then he says, I don't know. You already know, my boy, that I'm not going to touch those kind of subjects. You know what I mean? Obviously, there's more to the story when it comes to all of that, right? It's just stuff I'm not going to get into. You already know. Like once it comes to the whole prison thing and the big homies and the stuff, that's just stuff that I'm just not gonna touch. For those who know. You know what I mean? The ones that need to know. Being here in the farm side active homies, you either needed to pay up or put in work. Facts. That's just the facts of things. You just can't be out there claiming to be doing this and that and being about this and that. And homies are like, hey, man, you're saying all this gangster shit, dog, but hey, we never seen you in the hood. We never see you do nothing. We don't see you put in no work. We don't see, you know what I mean? Of course you're going to get called out for it, bro. You're not going to get no fucking pass. You know what I mean? And that's just the facts of things. Now, there's some people that could be like, damn, well, that's fucked up. Like, is it really, though? Like, you can't be mad because these fools are pressing him, right? He should have never been acting like he was about this and that when he's not, right? So, you know what I mean? If you're saying something, then people are going to hold you up to that. If you're trying to pitch or trying to proclaim to be like this and like that, right? If you're trying to give off that, then homies are going to want to see what's happening. You know what I mean? And when people be like, why don't you, chase the music career? Like when they ask me, right? Just wanted to be in the streets, bro. It's just what it was. We weren't thinking about becoming rappers. That wasn't even in the mind. You know what I mean? Just it really wasn't though. Mount Rushmore and Maravilla. I don't think there is any Maravilla rappers. If there probably is, I don't know, but I haven't heard any. You know, LA County Pinta politics are a whole other world. Yes, they are. They're just, and that's where they're meant to be in there. They're not meant to be on the internet. They're not meant to be discussed by the public and the public giving their opinion like, oh, well, that's fucked up. Or they should have done this or they should do that or they should, like, it's nobody's business, bro. That's why it shouldn't be on here, bro. That's why homies prefer homies don't talk about none of that shit, right? Because individuals don't want you rattling there where they sleep. So then when it starts to affect them, right, and then they start applying the pressure on individuals, then individuals get all butthurt, right, and want to come on here and be like, they don't know why these people are getting, press. It's like, what do you think was gonna happen, stupid? Like, what kind of dumb shit is that? Like, nobody should care about, what's going on in there and what they're doing. It's nobody's business. Comes with the territory. Just gotta deal with it. Facts. Some people claim to be renegade homies and say to start a revolution against them. And that's gonna create what though? That's gonna fix what though? More problems? Another structure? Another group? You know what I mean? That's just dumb. Like, you want to know the best way to go about it? Here, I'll tell you what the best way to how to go about this matters. The best way and the real advice here. Go to school, get your education, and don't break the law. There. You'll have money, you'll have success, you'll have women, you'll have a home, a car, a good life, the best advice I could give you is that, bro. That's there. Because once you choose to be a part of the illegal activity, you're gonna get nothing out of it. Nothing at all. Nothing whatsoever. You know what I mean? And that's just when the 100% facts. Like, it's really that simple. You know what I mean? You don't like how the program is in there? Then don't do shit that's gonna put you in that scenario. Then it's that simple. You don't want to follow no program, then don't break no fucking laws. People want to act like they're gangster and breaking the laws and acting like they're these tough guys, but then don't want to listen to nobody and follow no program. Well, sorry, your fucking highness. This is the real world. So, stay out of trouble then. All right, ladies and gentlemen, my lunch break is over. We got to get back to it. It was good chopping it up with you guys, and we out.